And the other thing I want to find out too, because if you think about the groups that were coming out in the earlier 90s, so even the SWVs and En Vogue, one of the things they had in common is that they worked with a primary producer. So either members of the group could write and produce like Jodeci and stuff, or they had a sort of a producer alongside them who gave them a sound that was like, this is their sound that they continued. And when you look at High Five, you guys had a lot of good producers working on your albums, but you didn't have somebody who was consistently working on a big chunk of your album that gave you that, apart from Tony's memorable voice, that gave a sound that we could easily identify with. Within the group, did either one of you guys have the ability in those days to do a lot more writing and production?
Well, the record company wasn't having it back then. You know, back then you got to remember, you know, that's back then, yo. Like it was different. The record company was different, man. You know, back then, you know, you at a certain age, you was done with what you was told. You did what you was told, and that's pretty much it. You ask questions later. If you wanted to ask questions, then you know you was the problem. Now you're the problem. You know, but that's what was going on back then. It's not like that now, but that's what was going on back then.
Yeah.
You know, you do the work, do what you're supposed to do, ask questions later. You know, and if you did ask questions, then you was considered the problem child, and you know, or the shenanigans at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as I say, it wouldn't surprise many of your fans who are watching in about that, because even Elder Barge mentioned the same thing happened to him at Motown. Moke and Steph said the same thing. When they tried to have more control, they would seem like problems and stuff. And so all the fans watching would understand how you had to play the game. Or if not, they can just remove things from you.
Gotta play the game.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, the album didn't do
until you got that leverage.
Until you get the leverage, and I guess, does that leverage mean going triple, quadruple platinum, and then they would say, okay,
at least one time platinum, then they'll try to listen to you a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, because you're bringing in money. You know, you becoming a, you know, you bringing in revenue.
Yeah,
for real. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, so what happens? Because I said it, for everyone, it's quite different. So the album, as Jive says, okay, that's it. We're finished with High Five. I know you guys.
Jive, it didn't really go like that. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole big thing. Jive didn't just say, you know, we're done with High Five. You know what I'm saying? High Five left, which I explained in the book.
Okay.
You know, it was a whole thing that went on about going solo, and you know, Jive wanted us to continue to stay on their label and work out our differences. Meanwhile, you know, other people and other people didn't want that. So it was the whole, like I said, doing a recording of Faithful, all about, you know, we had a lot of stuff going on internally.
Yeah.
Pertaining to that, you know, but Jive never really wanted. Jive never wanted us to leave. They didn't kick us out. We left. Yeah, man. Yeah, and I talk about that in the book, being one of the worst things that I think that we ever did.
Yeah, I mean, so in the book, did you explain whether this was a joint decision or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It's all in the book, how the decision was made and who was involved and all that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and then for yourself, so what does that do to you personally? Because you've mentioned how from a young age you've wanted to get into music, you wanted to be able to sing. You've had the experience with a group that went #1, and you've done 3 albums, which, you know, it's, you know, not Guy didn't do 3. Well, they did a 3rd album, but it's not a given that you can do 2 albums, not to talk of 3. So you're able to release at least 3 albums on a major label. Now you guys have separated from Jive. What does that do for you as a person? Just like,
I mean, you're not knowing what was going on, you know, following leads of other people, you know, and promises and stuff like that. And I explained in the book, you know, it wasn't just that cut. You know, it wasn't just as simple as cut as we talking right now. It was very complicated situation.
Yeah.
Going to different labels and meeting with different labels, and you know, shuffling through deals, trying to find the right deals, and you know, like I said, you know, listening to a lot of promises and things like that. You know, when it comes to, you know, us leaving Jive. So
Yeah.
all the answers like that is definitely, it's in the book on how and why we left Jive and where did we go and what was supposed to happen when we went to this other label. You know, I touched on all that so that all the fans that have questions on what happened.
Mm. Okay.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. So in the midst of, and as I said, you know, guys, we're going to put the link to Hiatus in the description so you can, it's on Amazon where you can be able to buy it or download it on your Kindle. In the midst of all this that's happening, one, all the money that you're making on, and I'm assuming the tour money is pretty much your bread and butter. Are you gotten the right type of investment, being able to save so that, you know, it can hold you down through the sort of lean times, or what's happening around
during those times, during those times, you know, we wasn't thinking that, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't thinking it. So it's just being honest. We're young kids, you know, you got to have the right management, the right people behind you to guide you. Other than that, you don't know what you don't know. So, you know, I touched on that in the book as well too. You know, what happened and how if you're not paying attention, you know, things like that could slip from you.
Yeah.
You know, one minute you're good, the next minute you're not. You know.
And so Marcus talks about going and getting a 9 to 5 because it's like, you know, at least there's the only that's the least stability for yourself. Are you still living in Waco, or do you move back to New York?
Nah, I'm not in Waco. I moved back, man. You know, I moved back, and you know, it's just not as cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? I went back, and that's what hiatus is. That's what hiatus is all about. I went back, but you know, I just didn't go back and sat down. Me, the 9 to 5 thing is not for me.
Wow.
That's not my blessing. That's not what God put me on this earth to do. That's just not what I do. I'm an entertainer.
Okay.
That's what I do. You know, I entertain, act, sing, direct, write. You know, that's what I do. I don't do nothing else. So, but there are people out there who you know, who have to do what they have to do, and you know, when you listen, when you read the book Hiatus, man, you're going to be surprised, or you know, just speaking about that, you'll be surprised what, you know, people have to do to survive, coming from a #1 group, #1 record, videos and stuff, but then next you know, and boom, you know, you got to make changes and you got to do what you have to do to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, hence the book Hiatus. It taps into all that.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.